today.
Welcome back.
That first one was so fun that I'm drinking a beer.
Good for you.
You see the
I've
new
got
lady?
Oh shit.
Andy,
Oh, damn.
get
Yeah.
near your mic or something, Andy. You're
Oh, okay.
No,
all
that's
right. There you go.
I added a new lady.
yeah.
1978.
Well, we're all glad you changed your shirt. Holy shit, did that stink?
Yeah.
Oh, I can smell it from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think that through. Like that's the kind of shirt you just yeah. I just got tired of because Larry was saying yes to the same shirt over and over. Like that's why you bought those or stole those or acquired so many. And then you'd find something that was like totally different, like a Blazer jersey or some, like not even a cool Blazer jersey, like a shitty worn out Blazer jersey. And he'd go, yeah, that one. Like, okay, you're a Blazer fan? Keep 5 of them, 50. Yeah,
Well,
I think
that's a whole movement. Andy is I think it started in Sweden. It was popular about a couple years ago, but it was people dehoarding everything so that when they die, their kids don't have to do it.
yeah.
And-
Well, that's kind of
and-
what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things. It's just the unfortunate thing. Well, it's not unfortunate that he's still alive, but with him there, you have to go by him when he gives the thumbs down or the thumbs up on stuff that it's like he's never going to wear one of those jerseys.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
take it to the thumbs down pile anyway. That's the answer.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Just make sure. Oh, that's
Got
it. Eric, that's it, Erickson. You just make sure that they sit with their back towards the dumpster.
He's like one of those, because you could go, hey, Larry, what about this stuff? And I want to go through all that. And you go, how big is your dog's asshole, do you think? And then he would go on a monologue, and then you just haul the other shit away while he's fucking an hour in on, it's a black plum. A pug dog's like a little black plumbed asshole. He should have been a proctologist because the guy really does love talking about assholes.
A dog proctologist?
A dog proctologist? That's a specialty?
Maybe that's what he is.
A dogologist.
Like every veterinarian is a dog proctologist.
Shit. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks, Patreon subscribers. It's good to have you here. Welcome to the episode 63 after party.
A lot to unpack in the Larry move.
I
think David goes
side by side.
David, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, there. See, I told you. Saying.
Doug Stanhope is the Larry the Larry of the Stanhopes. Or is Larry the Stanhope of the Andrus? But either way, look at those classic mullets.
Solid work.
One was used for white collar crime and the other for just straight up street level crime.
Stanhope is Larry with slightly better decisions and funnier.
When Larry stole from old people, he didn't rely on phone techniques.
Yeah, he liked to do his stealing face to face,
Yeah.
Person to person.
And if you left a place empty for a long time or even long enough, that's that gray area where you don't have to feel guilty about taking something. It's like it was unattended.
Yeah, were you like Ricky from Trailer Park Boys, like stealing people's lawn furniture because they had somebody else put it out front?
Yeah, Larry.
If it's unattended and in your house, it still belongs to you, Andy.
Well, did my brother Larry's fuchsia baskets he gave my mom every Mother's Day, were they less appreciated because he stole it right from the front of Safeway and walked up with it? Or, I mean, it's a thought that counts. So
I think that's nice.
Yeah.
If you're willing to commit a crime for your mother, I think that really
my mom
says
always
a lot.
saw it as equal, and I think it was a challenge to the rest of us is how do we get one for free? Thoughtful. Yeah.
Well, so a little news from California. We're closed back down again. So
I heard.
All right, congratulations.
Yeah.
I think Arizona is too.
Yeah. We got to just announce today
Bisbee has
3
been
week.
the whole time.
Yeah. I just saw today that, and again, this is borderline on starting to get political, but Trump is doing a July 3rd fireworks celebration at Mount Rushmore. And
Awesome.
the governor of South Dakota announced today, this seems weird to announce this, but she said that they will not be practicing social distancing at the celebration, which seems stupid to me, but also even weirder to announce it. Like, I just want everyone to know that it will be the most unsafe condition you could ever hope for. Come on out, bring the family.
In the hopes that like some people would just show up with masks. Now you tell them, be sure to leave your mask at home. Because we're not admitting anyone with a mask into the fireworks celebration.
Well,
on the 3rd of July.
You know how it is when you're taking the family out in the middle of a pandemic and people dying in droves, and you're like, oh, did we bring the mask? Oh, shoot, we'll have to turn around and go get our mask. No, the governor says we don't need them.
We're good.
Well, fine. Yeah. Cigarette smoking doesn't cause cancer? No, it does.
Yeah.
You just don't need to worry
Smoke
about
them
it.
if you got them. And drunk driving only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Drunk driving is not going to be an issue at the.
We will have a random stop point.
Yeah,
so that'll be the day that this all comes out. So maybe we'll have some highlights by the next time we talk. I think Trump at Mount Rushmore shooting off fireworks could be pretty.
Well, I got to tell you,
it'll be a lot of fun. I think
hunting those demons in sacred Indian ground is very tempting. But I don't, I mean, I could get there if I left now and took my bolts and shit and go, fuck it, this is it, man. I'm gonna fucking show up there.
I've never been in favor of any violence in this department because I've always thought that, if somebody actually killed the president, it would make him a martyr to his stupid fucking people and make things even worse. I want him to die painfully and slowly of embarrassment in the future.
Realistically, I could only hope to get a hip shot off on Eric or something.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
But what
I'm saying is that I would make an exception to that rule if a member of the Lakota tribe took him out at fucking Mount Rushmore on the celebration of America. That would be beautiful enough to me that I would absolutely celebrate.
How fucking cool would it be there?
And for anybody in the government, I'm not advocating for this.
Hyperbole.
I'm just commenting that if it happened.
It's just like one of the old West movies, all the Indians are on the hills and the people are doing their sparklers and shit, not practicing social distancing.
What would be great is if a firework went awry and just like came down in the president's box and exploded like a big mess of fireworks around him, and then that he just went up in a fucking glorious Roman candle of fucking.
Or even funnier, it just scared him to death.
And you get to see him pee his pants right before he fucking has a heart attack.
I will say, in complete hyperbole as well, as you said, Erickson, I saw a picture a little while back of him signing the border wall.
Oh, God.
And I didn't realize that it was in Yuma. I immediately just thought it was right here. And my very first thought was, oh, that motherfucker's here. Do I have to do this? I'm the least political person in the world, but is this falling to me?
No, it's like that.
It seems like he's definitely tempting you.
He's right down the road. I'm willing.
He's coming to Oregon too. It's like, don't you feel at times like it's a Taxi Driver movie and you're looking in the mirror going, wait, you are talking to me. No, I'm not even that good of a shot. You're talking to me? Yeah, I mean, I fucking think that it's like, if not that I would, hypothetically, if there was a game show host who's out of control drug fiend, who's a worthless piece of shit, who is like doing that kind of shit, I would like to see him run down a ramp and then have an Indian on horseback hit him in the head with a tomahawk.
Yeah, right. That would be perfect.
And then people are like, wait, that's racist. I think that was a white guy who was appropriating culture. No, he had 1/10 Lakota, and he was a horseback expert.
Hey, this might be hacky, but do you think Trump could name the 4 figures on Mount
They
Rushmore.
won't.
No,
Nobody will
no,
ask him out of
definitely
fear
not.
that he wouldn't get it right.
Right.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't.
He could be
know
staring
Teddy
at it
Roosevelt.
in front of a plaque that
There's-
said who's up there, and he wouldn't take the time to read.
There's zero
Who's up
chance. There's zero chance he would get Teddy Roosevelt right. Zero. Because he's on there. He's on there because the whole thing was his idea. So he wasn't even. He isn't one of the top 4 guys. If you were gonna do a top 4 president,
Well, he did start a lot of stuff with the national parks.
right?
He spearheaded that. But yeah, it seems
not even
and
the
then
best
Jefferson wasn't
Roosevelt.
even a president, and that might stump him. Going,
Well,
who's that
Jefferson
fourth
was-
He
fella?
was the most mobile Roosevelt.
Jefferson was the president. He was the 3rd president.
Jefferson was a president.
Thomas Jefferson, 3rd president.
Also on the
I'm thinking of
$2
Ben
bill.
Franklin. That's right.
Yeah, Ben Franklin wasn't. But Teddy Roosevelt wasn't even the best Roosevelt who was president. So
Yes,
he would.
was.
Oh, come on.
Now FDR.
We
did
don't have
pretty
to. Yeah, we don't have to.
Now
break
we're
it.
getting political.
Roosevelt camps.
Can't we all agree that the Roosevelts were just better than the Trumps? I mean, I don't remember the Roosevelts having a hooker wife or. Yeah, it's a.
Franklin stayed with Eleanor the whole time. He was a good man.
I suppose you guys can compare those two, since our sitting president compares himself to the old president that he's no longer running against all the time. I don't understand that tactic. Well, what about him? What, You realize he's not running for president, right? I don't understand. I do. I understand his tactic. It's
Well,
just,
hey, look, I'm sure Larry the Cable Guy didn't believe in his material, but he knew his audience wouldn't get anything else. So, that's a lot of it. It's like, shit, I want to do new bits, but
Holy
these
shit.
fucking, yeah, we don't want to hear the new shit.
I love my favorite thing about Larry the Cable Guy was when he was at the height of his fame and he had a movie called Larry the Cable Guy Health Inspector, and nobody was upset that Larry the Cable Guy's job was being a health inspector when clearly his job is to be the cable guy. I mean, it's in his name. How is he the health? But that didn't seem to bother any of his fan base.
Wears many hats.
Paul Bart, fucking
Paul
chef.
Blart?
Paul Blart.
Paul Blart, mall chef. Trying to fucking, fuck it.
Yeah, I
Said
see what
Larry
I see what you were
Dickens.
trying for there.
Oh, my brother said this, if you listen to the longer monologue he did, he says this guy come out and he's jerking off, or so, I think he says his face was all red like he just got out of an acid bath. And we're like, is that even a thing? But I think Larry's a fucking phraseologist. Like he was jerking off, his face was so red it looked like he just got out of an acid bath.
I think it's a thing like in metal working, or I don't know. It's maybe it's a blue collar statement.
Yeah,
I
think
it means an LSD bath. I think
him and Larry were both jerking off together. Larry was like, I don't even know why I have his picture on my wall, and then he peeled it off and he goes, "What a sick fuck!" Like you had his picture fucking glued to your wall. He's a sick fuck, Larry. Jesus. So Larry, I found out that Larry used to have a pillowcase that was, I think, Clackamas County Jail pillowcase. It was just a shirt and on a pillow, and then there was a chair. It was a very comfortable chair. It was. David told me it was. He pulled the seat out of Larry's car and he set it on the ground and he put that shirt on it, and it is the most comfortable chair Larry has. It's a car seat with a prison inmate shirt on it as a cover. I sat there most of the
it's
time.
An actual car seat?
Yeah, I didn't know what I just I sat down there. It's like this
like a bucket seat from a.
Well, no, it was
Like
a
El
single
Camino
seat. Single seat, but it was way more comfortable than his lawn chairs, and I sat in it most of the time I was there going, I can't go back in there. Trying to work up the courage. I know I need to witness this for the laughs, but it's kind of sickening.
This
It makes me want to cry, but I just want to write some jokes.
all of what you're describing is exactly why I don't talk to any of my family anymore. It's why I didn't have friends for years. I just don't want to have to pretend and deal with fucking bullshit like that when I really just want to go home. I'm just gonna stay home. I'm not gonna pretend anymore.
Well, with Larry, I mean, David said he'd go over there, and if Larry didn't answer, he'd kind of start thinking he might be dead, and he'd find him dead in there. And then we kind of talked about the easiest way to get rid of him would just be to fucking burn that trailer with him in there, and there wouldn't be a whole lot of funeral expenses. It's like fire mishap claims local man.
Right. That's an honor, actually, a funeral fire. That's the way Vikings did it, right?
Former top 5 most wanted.
Off to Valhalla.
Yeah, the top 5 most wanted list got a less funny this week. But yeah, I kind of went down there to say my farewells, but I think I'll probably see him a couple more times.
He'll be around for a while.
Yeah, he's got a 22% heart rate, but he lives about a 10% life, of life. He's like, he doesn't go places. Doesn't smoke meth.
Not much heavy lifting going on in the RV.
No. Now with the new trailer all clean, he's got a new, a new space to hoard up.
Yeah, so he was real concerned about being able to see the TV from the bed. And obviously, it's a lifestyle.
Understand that.
Yeah, I mean that's about all. If he, I assume Larry will die jerking off, and it'll kill him. It'll finally get.
He died doing what he loved.
Yeah, he died. He died doing what was the only love he could find. The only love that didn't disappoint him. That's his other subject, is when he goes on about his ex-wife. It's like, all right. It's like when Trump goes on about the lock her up. It's like, all right, let's do something different. Like, you don't get it.
Broken record.
Old material.
It's not funny. Yeah. It's not funny. Whereas all his asshole stuff is funny. It's like, get back to doing. You got to get back to your asshole stuff, man.
On. Back to comparing dogs' buttholes to fruit. Come on, you know what we're here for. We paid for it.
This misogyny doesn't fit, man. It's totally different. What does that have to do with a lemon in a dog's asshole at all? Get back on brand, bro.
Maybe he's exploring some new territory, Andy. You're at the concert yelling for the hits, but he's trying to break some new ground.
Work out some new material.
But it's just not. It's not good stuff.
Did you guys at least set him up a porn cabinet in the new trailer?
I think he probably ripped the cabinet off the other one. But this was funny. They had it's like this trailer's scary, to the wall. And David's following the guy towing the trailer. And Larry, there was a vent thing on the outside. It's like a big thing that fits on there somewhere. And Larry went and fucked with it right before they left. And the guy, for no reason, Larry's not mechanical or thoughtful and wasn't inspecting it. He just fucked with this thing. And they get a few miles up the road and it blows off and immediately gets run over by another car. And then they go get it. And it's like a cover. It's like kind of a, it's a definitely something that has function fitting on there. It must have some need to be there, and it got all fucked up. And then Larry goes, fuck it. And then David stopped and went back and grabbed it and glued it all together. And it's going to put the thing back on there. But it's like, that's just Larry right there. He gets a brand new trailer, goes up the road. He fucks with it before it even moves. And then a piece of it gets broken and is now glued together and being painted and shoved back into it. Like, that trailer's going to be so fucked up in a few weeks. It's not even going to move. And it's going to be fucked up. But those canaries, David was going to take them in there in the dirty
parakeets.
Cage. Yeah, the parakeets. Yeah, he's going to take the parakeets in there in a dirty cage. I was like, really? And then he's like, but he was just being functional. But I was like, it's that I was just in that trailer and it smells like a fucking clean new trailer. And then David's bringing in the fucking dirty bird cage.
Well, and bird feces and the dander that comes off of birds is the worst thing for health. I've had birds. You have to keep that shit really
Oh, you
kept
gotta
up
clean.
with. Or
You gotta
it
clean a bird
fucking-
cage.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
don't clean it every day, it's
I-
every other day. And there's
I-
so much
How
maintenance
about
with a bird.
never?
I
How about
once had a I once had a
That's
parrot.
an option.
I once had a parrot that I would take her out. She didn't live in a cage. She actually stayed behind my pillow for a while. She had like a nest of blankets behind my pillow, but she was potty trained. I'd take her and pick her up in the morning,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'd hold her over the garbage can, and I'd tell her drop a deuce. She'd take a
Oh my
shit
God.
every time I'd say drop a deuce. She'd take a shit, and so I
Just like
she could
Larry.
go with
Scared by your
everywhere.
voice.
She was badass. She was until I'll tell you what happened. She
my
eventually
God.
laid an egg in the nest behind my head because she loved me so much. We spent a lot of time together, and she laid an egg in there. And when that happened, then she started attacking Jenny when she'd get into bed. She got jealous and she started fucking trying to bite Jenny, and so I had to move. I had to move her nest and my bird and
Wait,
everything
you
out.
had to move whose nest? Jenny's or the
Jenny's
bird's?
out.
Jenny's
Jenny, I'm
right
sorry.
away. The
These
bird
had a
puts
good
out
run.
way
The
more.
crazy thing.
I'm just waiting for the part where Chad did a Larry and put a little semen on the egg, and now there's a little bird that looks like Chad floating around.
Island of Dr. Moreau. Bird.
Yeah. Oh, I was just
Toucan
jerking
Chad.
off in the corner of my trailer, and this bird was down there with an egg, and now it's a lizard. Yeah, poor guy. he's but Larry didn't have any like he wasn't putting on any emotions like he's losing shit either. So it was like it's just like it's more of a reckoning than any kind of fucking but it's like god damn, who could I can't think of anybody who could live like that you could like for a week, for a month, but for 5 years. My brother lived like that. And he don't really seem affected by it or concerned about it either. So good times, man.
Yeah.
He'll never
That's
look
rough,
back.
but it's nice that you it's rough. So it's
Yeah.
nice that you did something like that. But I'm just thinking because my mom, she cleared out everything before, like a couple of years before she died. My dad had passed away in 2005. And she died in 2016. So between that time, she realized, I don't want to burden my kids with all this stuff. She thought it was ridiculous. And then she also she took great pride in that if we wanted something, she had us put our name on it. So then she would walk by these things every day and think that's going to be with whoever, right?
Yeah.
Little did I know my sister put a piece of tape on the front door of the house and thought that worked for the whole thing.
I don't think Larry's stuff we could have fixed something to. Like,
but
I
but
put tape on it, it doesn't stick, Larry.
he doesn't know what he's doing, Andy. I mean, he's just living his life. That's tough to do, man. That's one of those
once
tough
David kicks it, once he's all that other trailer's out of there and his things there, I'll show up with a load of bark dust or some shit, and he's got some clone. I mean, I like hanging out with him. He's stupidly
bring a pooper scooper and clean up the front yard.
He's got a toilet now.
It's Andy's job to come in at the end and just cover everything up with mulch and be like, none of this ever happened.
Yeah, this is all new, Larry. Hemlock bark. Yeah. But he's fun to talk to, but like sometimes people's fucking digs are so that's the most hoarders, they don't want you to see their shit because they're embarrassed. But Larry wanted you to come on in anyway. Didn't care, but it's like, I think I'll stay out here, Larry. As my nephew said, it's like, how could you even eat in that kitchen? It's like, well, you can't. I mean, there's like fucking it's like overpiled with garbage and shit. So he's like, but yeah, I imagine the next visit will be kind of fun and normal, and we'll bring my own lawn chair and rubber boots.
Nice.
Yeah, don't wait too long, man. Get over there while you still can, and you don't have to wear a mask.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring. But once I saw him, it's like shit. He's always But he looks fucking horrible. He's gonna die pretty soon. I mean, he's got that look about him. He's just like, and he's got, he eats fucking shit that's been under his bed for 4 years. A tub of Cheetos.
Did you manage to steal his Gentleman Jack bottle of marbles while you were
No.
there? Or are you waiting until
Half
he
of the
dies?
marbles were missing and the label peeled off.
Son
I
of
go,
a
Larry, what
bitch.
happened to your marbles? And he goes, oh,
Son
they're
of
over
a
there. And I go, wow, no, that ain't.
bitch.
Yeah, it was a.
He missed
But
the opportunity to say, I lost
I-
my marbles.
Yeah, he still had half of them. But I don't know what. How did you know? I mean, it's like there's just no ability to go. Where? How did you get rid of half your marbles?
Yeah.
Like, when did that happen? You turn them upside down, or what happened, man?
Sometimes when you're taking dumps in the lawn, you need to wipe your ass with marbles, Andy.
I
You
guess
don't
so.
understand everybody's lifestyle.
Yeah, I'd like to think that he wiped his ass. That's old thinking. That's outside of the box.
What? There wasn't a lot of fucking shitty toilet paper blowing around the yard.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, I would imagine that if there was, David used that to light the fire.
Oh.
Kindling.
Yeah.
He's making his own kindling.
Uh,
I smell fried chicken.
smells like burnt Cheetos.
It definitely explains why he was found in his driveway without pants on, though. He went to take his
Yeah.
shit and just got disoriented.
Yeah, took a wrong turn.
That does make sense. That is part of the evolution. Wouldn't you just get buck naked if you had to shit in the yard? You don't want to try to shit
And-
on your pants.
And you
Wailing and
definitely
screaming.
don't need,
Portland Trailblazers jersey.
yeah,
Is
You
that
definitely
Brandon
don't need
Roy?
you definitely don't need to put your teeth in. So that probably is what was
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I don't know how the date ended, but that's how it ended for Larry. And I was like, I mean, there's so many layers of that. I was like, you know, it's like David's talking about he had a woman over there with him in the trailer, and they were partying, and it's like, you know. And then I was like, you know, I would like to ask Larry. You know, that'd be fun. I'd like to sit down with David and Larry and find out just some of these stories. Maybe I can still salvage it. It's like, what was the, what did you make love to this woman? Because he didn't. Just about it was like 6 months ago or so. David got him a new mattress. So up until that point, it was just whatever was in the Winnebago at the time, and shit. So like he'd upgraded, but this was before all that.
Was
So
that Andy? Was it a Winnebago?
yeah, I think it's a win. I think it's like basically the Breaking Bad thing. If they just lived in there and let Jesse Pinkman live in there.
It's the big gym camper after the 70s and into the 80s
After
when
the
everybody
fire.
got into blow.
Yeah.
Started.
Yeah. 60s, 70s, 80s, and it's been parked through the 2000s. And Jesus Christ. Yeah, if you could, you know, I would like to know what George Pinkston plans to do with it, but also I don't want to talk to that guy because he's an ass.
I think the less you know, the better about that.
Yeah. It's like he was the fucking. I hated him when I was a kid, and then I saw him years later because I've moved Larry. This is probably the 6th or 7th time I've moved Larry, and I've never ever seen him lift a box. He's never moved himself, but I've moved him 6 times. Like evicted him. This is the word for it. Kicked him out of a couple times out of my folks' house and a couple times out of my mom's trailer. And he just keeps recirculating, and it's like that somehow he keeps fucking building his stash.
To me, it just seems like Larry has won.
Yeah.
He's almost done, and he's got to live life on his own terms.
Oh yeah, fast lane, baby. You don't live forever.
Hand, you win.
Yeah, live fast and then burn everything he touched when he's gone.
Live fast, shit out back.
Yeah. Yeah. No regrets.
If
I had it all to do over again, it wouldn't change a thing, except maybe my pants now and
then. Fuck.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not really doing a great job of hyping his estate sale.
Well, you've already let us know that half the marbles are gone, so there goes that illusion.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I took the initiative to not wait around for Larry to die, and I went and got my own marbles and found a milk jug. It's not, I think they only make the Gentleman's Jack in the bigger bottles, and I don't drink whiskey much. But if there's an alcoholic out there with one sitting around, I could put some of my marbles and start. I think if I put all my marbles in a Gentleman's Jack, I would have about what Larry has, about a half. And I would say it's half full, not half empty. But for Larry, it's definitely half empty.
It's on the
not-
downstroke.
Yeah.
That's not being
The
pessimistic.
tank is emptying.
Yeah, that's not being pessimistic. That's looking at the reality and science. Yeah. It seemed like I thought Larry did it as a statement. It's like, are all those marbles because you jacked off and put a marble in there? And he didn't even, he didn't even see it as like, no, I just put the marbles in there. Like, okay.
What a-
There was
Statement
no,
piece.
there was no nothing attributed to the marble.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it being like a life goal achieved, and plink, drop
Right.
it in there.
That's what I'd do. I would like, boom, nature jack that. I get it, like, like I went to Crater Lake, I'd get a blue marble or whatever, green out in the woods.
Having been friends with several guys like Larry in my life, I would guess that at some point somebody probably traded him the bottle of marbles for drugs, which he was also on, which was why it made it seem like a good idea at the time.
It
Like,
looked
that's
valuable.
worth drugs?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I'll trade you that. And then
Yeah.
later, like, oh, man, trading
Yeah.
drugs for that?
This is just
Yeah.
a jar of marbles.
Yeah,
God
he-
damn it.
Wait,
They're
what
not
happened
even
to the
good
magic
marbles.
beans?
Yeah,
I have
no,
a whole gentleman jack full of
Yeah.
magic beans,
Well,
and they're
they-
gone.
Yeah.
The jar of the magic beans were in broke, and then it just sat under his bed, and they got stepped on and scattered, and the rats ate them, and now they're shitting fucking beanstalks now. I guess David only killed a couple rats because most of them just wanted to leave anyway.
they couldn't find a way out.
Yeah, like when they were confronted, they were like embarrassed to be there too. This is low even for a rat.
Oh,
I know, man.
yeah.
I'm thinking
all the
about going
other
to
rats-
AA.
The other rats are making fun of him.
Yeah.
You don't even have walls to hide in that
Yeah.
fucking trailer, you piece of shit. You can't even hide in the wall. It's just a thin piece of sheet metal. You don't even.
Yeah.
I think
No,
that guy. You ever see the Flex Seal ads? I think that
Oh,
guy
yeah.
should show up at Larry's old trailer, because that's what it sounds like. David did some weird shit to write that ship, but it sounds like some Flex Seal. It's like, it's my whole RV's coming apart there. Some bitch is falling apart there. Just get some Flex Seal and paste it out there. Put some fucking porn on it before the Flex Seal dries, and then you got a whole new wall and a girlfriend.
Did you stab your tires to level out your trailer? No problem. Throw some Flex Seal on that.
Yeah, Ram Jackass is what Larry's company's called.
Oh,
Yeah, there he is, Phil Swift. I used to I would always watch those with my daughter when he'd come on. I go, hey, look at that guy. It's like, that's the kind of guy you should marry. He could come around here and fix all this stuff. We could go fishing in his boat he just made out of my screen door.
Yeah.
He's always happy.
Uh,
I tried
Yeah.
to turn my daughter
Those
off.
guys made money on because they got a percentage of sales. The pitcher.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these guys
Well,
cleaned up, man. There's
You mean
a
he
couple
didn't
of
do it. Yeah, Billy Mays, he got all that money
Yeah.
and did drugs.
Yeah, he's a partier.
Fuck
The
yeah,
Sham
that
Wow guy too. He's a fucking
Oh, yeah.
maniac.
yeah. That guy was at fucking. He was doing swap meets with the fucking
Yeah.
with the microphone on his face and just forever. And then he got into something and made it work.
Never looked back.
Yeah,
Never
well,
looked
we'll
back.
see.
He goes to his classes regular. He's got most of the ShamWows out of his mom's garage.
That Flex Seal is good shit. I'll tell you right now. I bought some of the spray cans of it and sprayed my all the handles of my wood handles of my shovels and everything, just
Yeah.
to keep them sealed out from water.
They don't
Fuck,
peel
good,
off?
Good shit. Hasn't yet. It's good. I keep
Are we
them out of
gonna
the
get a
sun now.
sponsor finally?
I think so.
Right,
feels
we're
like-
trying. We're
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah, like I mean, he's a man's man.
First of all, you talk about things you really like. That's what I
That's
learned
it.
from
Yeah.
the Doug Stanhope podcast commercial days.
Yeah.
Stanhope was a man of integrity when it came to
Oh,
commercials.
here's another.
Too
This
much
is it.
integrity, some would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it costs you
We
guys.
did get those. We did get those really nice looking watches that turned out to be a fucking piece of shit. Mine quit working within a month.
Oh yeah, when
I
you guys
think
were
you
doing
sent me one of those, Shaylee.
when you
I
guys
think I
were
got
doing
one.
those, I forget the name of the company, but when you guys were doing those meals that were sent to you, I was like
Blue Apron.
feeling the
Blue Apron.
strain. You guys don't like that shit. Come on now.
I gained so much weight. I mean, I ate really well.
Those were good, man. I
but
love Blue Apron.
I would, yeah,
Good,
I
good.
gained a lot of
Really?
weight on that. Just I was eating full meals instead of like making a sandwich and then getting an iced tea. I would have a salad and a pasta and then some bread with it. And I'm like, I don't usually eat like this, and I did that for 3 years.
You know what I eat almost all the time, and it helps me, and I don't gain a lot of weight when I eat this, is anxiety. I swallow it. I swallow it like my nephew swallows kratom.
I don't know what that is.
That
Creatine?
creatine. He does it a
Creatine.
spoon.
Creatine.
Because I told him
Creatine
how
or kratom?
I
Which
win.
one?
whatever that
No,
fucking
which
green.
Oh,
one?
there's two. That's right.
That's
There's
right.
two.
I
Those are
actually
both
did a
things.
big dose of it because it's like I told him how much I hated it, and my nephew goes, "Yeah, you don't mix it with anything. I just take a big spoonful of it."
Oh,
And it's like algae, and he took a big fucking
Kratom.
spoon, and then kratom, and then he took the spoonful, and then he didn't even like panic to the water. He took a second and washed it down. Then he did another big one, and then I did a dose of it. It's all blended up and shit, and I choked it down, like chug, chug, and I did it just because I wanted to, I wanted to feel what it was like, But it was like, I don't know if it's kind of a good high or whatever,
See,
but there's no way I
yeah.
could choke that shit down.
I was
That's
just
a-
gonna
it's
say
a high?
I could barely get down the Molly dips I was doing the other night. Like it's like sour, gross.
Yeah.
Like, but I was only doing it because I knew the payoff that was coming is worth it.
Yeah,
I can't imagine a spoonful of that shit.
Yeah, it is funky shit, but man, they got to make it taste better. I can't,
Well,
you know.
isn't that
like-
your job?
It should add
Well,
sugar.
My brother did a thing he has a thing that blends the drink. Like not a full blender, but it's like a fucking single drink. Anyway, it did all right. I mean, I could still taste the shit, but I could choke it down. But to swallow a spoonful of powder, that's no way to get high.
Like the
fuck
cinnamon challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's his name should be Mark because he's been a Mark his whole life. Women. He went to a strip club in a bad neighborhood in Portland when he was a young man. After he had a few drinks and did some blow, and he sat in a Northeast Portland bar, and then all of a sudden he hooked up with a brother and his lady, and he was banging the girl while they were smoking crack and going to his bank and pulling money out that he didn't have.
Yeah.
Then he
That's why his debit card got rejected.
Yeah,
at the
then his
gas
fucking,
station
times.
for
Yeah,
$4.
his new friend took off. His new friend took off with his car for several weeks, and he had to call him off.
Hey, old buddy.
Yeah. So he's like my brother Jeff that he's sort of smart but doesn't have a lick of common sense. Like so naive that anybody could fucking scam you at any time. I could have scammed him a couple of times. I had to point out that I could rip, you're telling me too, like somebody would use that information to fucking rip you off, Oh, really? Like some of us aren't that smart, in case you haven't noticed. Leandrus. It wasn't
I think with all of us, I think that's pretty obvious. If you're still watching, if you're a Patreon subscriber to this, you pretty much understand.
We got
what
dirt
this
road
is.
smarts.
Dirt road smarts.
We know how to rip people off at the end of a dirt roads.
The spider caught another fly.
Or we know how to rip off the people who are ripping off people in the dirt roads. It's a
Even
tangled
easier.
web.
Yeah,
that
let them do the work
lived
and then just
here.
grab
We
it from
don't
them
know.
at the end.
I think both me and Dylan popped in there thinking we'd be able to find the money stash, but I couldn't even give you a guess of where it would be. And then when David told us where it was, and it won't be anymore, but it was under layers of filth and garbage, and in like a chicken box or some shit like that. That's his safe.
Like a 2-piece meal from KFC, a box.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I was
I don't know
picturing
what a
maybe a
chicken
chicken
box is.
cage. I wasn't sure if it was like a bucket.
No.
Yeah.
Raising chickens.
That one got right by me. Chicken box went right past me. I never even fucking flinched.
Yeah, sometimes it's just too
We
much.
get immune.
Yeah, you can't catch all. You can't catch all the fly balls.
We've gotten
Yeah.
immune. Definitely.
When you see the pictures of his place, you'll be able to smell what I'm talking about. Like
Do
he
you
couldn't
smell what
what
Larry's keeping?
cooking.
Like I would think. Oh, yeah.
Erickson wins.
You couldn't recreate what I mean, like Hollywood trying to recreate Larry's place would not be able to do it. It's just
Yeah.
like it.
They would be like, no, make it realistic.
No,
Yeah.
this is too far gone. There's no
Yeah.
one will believe this is a place. Yeah.
Right.
Wait, it looks like he's had sex with some of those chicken pieces that are on the floor. Probably, I mean,
Those aren't chicken pieces. Those are old parakeets.
yeah. The thing is like when Larry goes unplugged and stuff, you get just enough details that you're like, oh my, I don't know if I'm ready.
Wait. What do you mean unplugged? What do you mean
Oh,
unplugged?
he's
Well, when
doing
he starts-
VH1 storytellers?
Yeah,
You
when
give
he's
him a
talking
guitar and a
about the
stool?
guy having his ass, the soap up his asshole, and he just like, it's like a 6 or 7 minute monologue. You just kind of hear asshole and jerking off, and it's like you just let him go. It's like it's a song you hear. It's like that song in Shawshank Redemption. Most of the inmates didn't understand what the song was about, but they appreciated the music. And that's what I figure when Larry starts blathering and shit, I just kind of hear some of the notes, but you kind of cringe up because it's like your whole life you're taught that, oh, Jesus, no, I don't want to hear that.
We're going to have to teach you how to use your voice recorder on your phone.
Yeah.
When you have these conversations, even if they're of
No, I
poor
think I
quality,
got I have the video you sent, so
Yeah.
we'll look at it. I'll look at it.
I'll
and,
bet you'll get at least a few fucking.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we'll throw it on there.
I don't know
Maybe
the
a
first one.
special Patreon.
The first one I listened to, and it was like I was steering him off the subject of his ex. It was like,
Yeah.
quite honestly, you're both cunts.
It's a tie.
Yeah, it's like
Hot calling kettle. Come in,
yeah.
kettle.
Yeah.
I can
she
only
broke her
imagine the
arm, she
issues
broke
with
your heart.
Larry.
Yeah.
She broke my heart, so I broke her arm. Yeah, it's kind of hard to hear that she had it coming argument these days. No, Larry, we've all evolved now. The herd's better, and we don't do that anymore.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned going to Branson, and Larry was like, "I'll go to Branson." Like, no, you're not. You're not going to Branson, Larry. We can't have you. Yakov Smirnoff does not need.
Yakov's got a restraining order against
Yeah,
you, Larry.
Yakov doesn't want you using his parking lot as a toilet, Larry.
Or his lobby.
Fuck.
I don't think Larry's cleared to travel probably by his doctor, even, is he?
Yeah.
Or he's probably not
I mean,
cleared to leave the state
not
by
s-
the
yeah, not
fucking
safe.
by his parole officer.
Well, I'll say this: I haven't left this house. That was the second time I really left the house for more than a 1 hour trip, or left town and everything. And it was I stopped in Lakeside and saw the moose horns on the
Yeah, I saw
thing.
that.
Went by the
Yeah,
barn
yeah.
and saw that it's like, God, fuck that place. It's fucking. People are so stupid. But at Larry's place, it was the only place I've been since COVID started where I would have worn a mask anyway. It was just a
Right.
natural thing to be all wrapped up in gloves and shit. But like you wouldn't want to be around that shit without a full fucking suit,
Yeah.
and that's why I didn't dig in more. If I had a fucking suit and gloves and a shovel, I would have loved it.
It's too bad it wasn't more like the Breaking Bad trailer. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
when he was cooking his meth, he didn't have the full suit that Walter White had, because that's what
Yeah.
you needed, the fucking full covering and the
I
gloves.
wonder if he ever did cook. I don't know. I'd have to ask him. I can't think he would do the science very well at all. I think he was
Most of
always
them
just.
don't.
Well, a lot
I
of
think-
those guys, yeah, they thought of it more as art.
If he
Yeah.
worked in real estate, I'll bet he would have won a lot of trips to Hawaii. Let's just say that. Top salesman again. Great job. Let's hear your acceptance speech, and could you keep it under 1 week?
And close with the dog asshole thing.
Yeah,
Everybody loves.
They
everybody
love
loves.
that.
Yeah.
That's why we're
your-
having you here again.
Yeah, that's your opener and your closer. I'm concerned. Boy, this trying to get through the podcast and drinking less is not cool.
Yeah.
I'm only
Drinking less.
well, I drank. I mean, after the last one, and then I drove down to Coos Bay, and I was like, I almost need to stop and sleep somewhere because I'm a little
Whoa.
buzzed for the road.
Maybe find a middle ground, Andy, and just don't drink on the ones where you have to drive to Coos Bay afterwards.
Well,
Maybe,
yeah, no,
you know,
yeah, no. I mean,
That
that
was too
the
late, though. He found out in
Yeah.
If you're
between
gonna-
shows.
Yeah.
Well, even the one before that though is
You know what?
Andy called me from outside of Best Buy, drunk as shit. Hours after we were done with the podcast a couple weeks ago. What are you doing? I'm drinking and driving. I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch. Don't be drinking and driving. Well, my friend needed to go to Best Buy, so I came over to Best Buy with him, and I'm like, that's not a good reason for you to have
Yeah.
driven.
Was
So,
it very
yeah.
Sobel?
yeah, kind of.
I think it was his crossbow friend.
Yeah,
The same irresponsible
yeah.
friend that gave him a
Yeah.
crossbow.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but you need to like expand your horizons, friend. Andy. Come on,
Well, I do. They're
crossbow and driving drunk.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I knew I was driving down to Coos Bay, but what sobered me up was that I blew through Reedsport without getting gas. And I was on one bar for 47 miles. Like, it's got to drop to zero. I'm going to run out of gas. Then I'm going to have to fucking really sober up because I'm going to be on foot. So
Running
So I-
out of gas in this day and age there is no excuse for it.
especially in the
It's just-
tunnels. I went through that tunnel. It had one of those hiccups where I had the cruise control on and it did something, but I was like, oh, fuck. I'm going to run out in the middle of a tunnel. So, yeah, I was sober by the time I got there.
And you didn't run out of gas. You made it.
I
to
did
a gas
not.
station.
No, I made it to, and then, but I went to one, and then there was like somebody cut me off, and I got motherfucker. And then I came back to that gas station because I almost blew through another town without getting gas after all that.
You got to remember that you're low on gas. I guess that's why it
Oh,
dings
yeah,
at you when you get so low.
If there was
Yeah.
only some kind of gauge or instrument that would notify you.
But here's
It's
the
hard to
thing.
keep track of the
I went through
miles ahead
I went
while
through
you're driving.
Reedsport, and I thought there'll be gas in those other two towns, and there wasn't. So then I saw a guy on a lawnmower, and one of them.
Why wasn't there?
It just wasn't. They're small towns, and their gas stations weren't open. They're shut
Yeah.
now from the pandemic or whatever. I saw a guy on a lawnmower riding around on a
We're gonna
lawnmower,
stop
and I started to go back, and I saw a big fucking Trump pants sign in the yard, and I figured, nah, it's not even worth it. I'd rather run out of gas and fucking bum gas off of a fucking Trumpy riding his big lawnmower.
You
around.
could have just pulled up and told them you needed to gas up because you were headed to Coos Bay to stomp some Black Lives Matter
Right.
protesters.
Antifa,
I'm gonna
Yeah.
run
Know
over
your
some
audience.
protests.
Yeah.
I heard.
Yeah.
He'd have filled you up and changed your oil.
Yeah, and then I could have choked him to death and taken his hat.
Just ridden his lawnmower on the rest of your trip.
Just call me
whenever I
COVID-19, dude. Call me
Would I-
COVID-19.
Well, I left Fairbanks to drive to Arizona when I was a kid, when I got out of the Army. And less than 100 miles out of Fairbanks, my fucking gas gauge just goes and died. And I could have probably fixed the problem in the vehicle, but I was like, well, I can figure out basic
You
math.
said to
I
do
know
the
my
math.
exactly math. I know I'm not, and I'm horrible at math, but I go, I can do that much math. I can know the
Right.
mileage. I know how much mileage. And then I went into Canada where they sold gas by the liter, and I didn't understand it. I didn't know how to do math
And
at
you're-
all anymore.
And you're doing kilometers.
Yeah.
Like, God, I'm
yeah,
doubly fucked.
I would stop every fucking gas station
Yeah.
and get gas just to make sure, because I
That's
was
right.
like, listen, I have
That
no
would be
idea.
80 cents.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right, sir. I am putting in $1.13. All right,
Yeah.
here you go.
Yes.
There's something
And they're
about,
Canadian. They're Canadian, so they're just being like really passively, aggressively nice to you about it. Like, oh, just a 87 cents today, eh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Put it on my credit card, sir.
Run it. You heard me.
we still get the guys
You're
coming
go-
out and pumping it in Oregon. So that was, you
Yeah.
know, once I got
crazy.
there.
Still a thing, huh?
Oh yeah,
I thought
Yeah.
changing that. They were
you
gonna
can
let you
in some rural areas, but you also will have to have some guy come out who will fucking berate you for stealing his job, probably.
Jesus,
But
they're
yeah, no,
still-
they
I mean,
Why do
still.
they? Why
blows
is
my
that
mind.
a thing?
I don't. It never. It's like there's only 2 states that still have it. I guess that, you know, it's just. I don't know. It's the dumbest shit, and then they are defensive about it
So
too.
for people who don't know, Oregon is a state where you have to have someone pump your gas for you, right?
Can't
We
pump
have
your own gas
basically
at all.
No
Experts.
self-serve.
We have experts.
Back in the 70s, they called
So-
it full serve.
Yeah,
There's no such thing anymore in
Yeah, they don't-
48
yeah.
states.
yeah. I've
So
had
it's-
them
it's
where
like
they pump
a-
the gas and go, "Do you want me to wash your windshield?" I'm like, "Yeah, fuck, really? Okay, yeah, sure, have at it."
I mean, we're all old enough to remember full serve was like the thing in
Yeah.
Walnut.
I worked
growing
at a
up.
gas
I-
station.
yeah, my
I worked at a gas
buddy.
station where
Yeah.
where we couldn't even like clean a window with a squeegee, like because we lived in Orange County and we had to wear certain belts that wouldn't scratch the person's car. We had to with a chamois, you know. It was full fucking serve.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
go
they-
opening up somebody's hood and monkeying underneath the thing, they're gonna get out and fucking call the police on you, huh? Yeah, I remember that. They'd open the hood and or check
Yeah.
all the different things
Yeah.
and shit. And
Check your fluids.
yeah, then give you a couple animals for your Noah's Ark. That's a
Oh,
fill up.
Arco.
Yeah,
Arco used
Arco,
to have
yeah.
little
Yeah.
premiums.
That
Yeah,
was
we
the
had-
side. You could go on the one side where you could fill up your own, or you could drive on the other side where you ran over the thing that went ding,
Ding,
and
yeah.
the dude fucking runs out and fills up your gas.
Or kids on
Yeah.
bikes, or a fat kid could go step on it. Ding. Yeah. Yeah, you can't. I mean, that used to be the thing. You're like, have a little engine trouble. You go to a service station and like, it's running a little funny. Well, the mechanic will take a look at it. Yeah.
My grandmother drove a car, and they came from Wisconsin. That's where my mom grew up. My grandmother, she came out to California in the 80s after her husband died. My grandfather died, and I was shocked to learn that she had never ever pumped her own gas. And this was after living in California for a couple years. She still she would pull up to the thing with her little white driving gloves and sit in her car and wait until a nice young
Somebody
man came to
else.
the window. Yeah. And I'm like, what? How does that even a thing? And that was, I mean, and she was 90 something when she died. She had never, ever once pumped a drop of gasoline into a car.
Wow.
Larry's probably never paid for gasoline.
That's why he was number 2. He's driving off gas
Yeah.
stations.
And
He used
never caught. Never
That-
He was
caught.
yeah,
He's part of the
siphoned.
reason why Oregon made that law.
Mhm.
No pump your own gas. Stay in your car, you motherfucker.
He's customer zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Bunch
that.
of
So
Larrys.
I'd never heard about siphoning
You-
gas. That's
yeah,
really the
you-
first time I heard about that. It's like he ran out of gas and he siphoned some. He was saying, "What? How'd you get gas?" Siphoned it, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't sound like
Yeah.
a term of how you would get gas, but
I
It is.
remember finding out about siphoning gas as a kid too, because it was always like something the older kids supposedly did. It's like, oh, that's because of for some reason growing up in the 70s, gas was as hard to get as alcohol if you were a kid. Like, what, you can't just go to the gas station and get $5 worth of gas. No, we're gonna go out to McGillicuddy's farm and fucking siphon it out of his tractor. It's like, does that seem like
It's probably not a bad skill to know nowadays.
But then you found out about how like suction worked, and it was like a physics experiment, because you're like, well, wait a minute, how do you do that? And it just keeps pumping out. Like, it didn't seem to. It was like magic. You heard about it, and you're like, wait, that actually worked? You can make that happen? And
well, we in the 70s we had the energy crisis where pumps were closed, and going to someone's tractor was a viable option to get a little petrol.
Yeah, that's when I don't think they had that many locking gas caps before that. Then it became a thing because people were stealing gas.
I lived in multiple trailer parks growing up, and when you'd ride your bicycles, the first thing we would start doing as kids is you'd go around and you'd steal people's metal air.
The valve cover.
If they had valve covers, you'd go and steal them so you could put them on your bike. And then later, when you got a dirt bike, you needed gas for your dirt bike, so you would go around the trailer park and you would siphon gas into your thing. Also, we were into huffing gas already by that point in the trailer park. So that was a revolutionary.
So you guys were pretty much fighting the cliches right and left around trailer park.
I thought that motorcycle was the funnest thing in the world until that older kid showed me that if you take the gas tank tube vent that goes up through the front and you blow in it real hard and expand the tank and then inhale the fumes that it pushes back out, you can get incredibly high immediately. And I was like, that's a fucking thing.
God. Yeah. Imagine how many brain cells just gave up when that happened inside your head.
Well, I'm pretty sure
so brilliant.
I'm pretty sure in the Marilyn Chambers movie Insatiable, there's a siphoning gas scene, which leads to her sucking dick, which was the first.
Wait, that's how she learned?
Yeah, it's like I forget that there was like kind of one of them Henry Phillips roadside situations.
Yeah.
And then she says, "You suck on this."
Give him a plug.
I think she was out of gas, and anyway, but she's in there siphoning, and then she says, "You suck on this, and then I'll suck on this." I remember that line. I was more about the dialogue than the action.
Yeah,
I was picturing her sucking a dick to get the taste of gas out of her mouth. Maybe I didn't know what the plot was. But
that's when my coach goes, "Do you like that?" And then I should take it out and play with it. And I thought, because in my head I was thinking he somehow meant that it's like had to do with the gas siphoning, which I just heard about from Larry about a week or two earlier. It's like when you hear something and then you're like, oh, that's what gas siphoning is what I'm thinking. And the other stuff was kind of blowing my mind, but I definitely didn't know what he meant by take it out and play with it. Now I do.
Yeah.
And no, sir. No, I wouldn't.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
No.
Siphon your own gas.
Yeah. Maybe if you go to sleep in a chair, drink some cough syrup and we'll talk.
Well, we should give a plug to Henry Phillips, because what you're talking about was the Highwayman, right?
Yeah, Highwayman.
Yeah.
Highwayman.
That's his. It's on YouTube and it's fucking hilarious.
Very
friend of ours.
Has he started them? I only saw the preview. Henry's got
a Patreon.
Okay. I got to pay for Henry?
If you want the good shit, come on.
Yeah, no, don't sign up for Henry's Patreon. We want you right here.
Yeah.
We don't want you to see one person be funnier.
They're already here. This is the Patreon.
Yeah, but
channel.
what if they end up with a choice where they get exposed to Henry's hilarious channel, and then
we
they're
have
like,
way more content.
I have $5 Patreon money. That's all I got.
I think
if you want somebody to use that money for heroin, support Henry. He's a fucking junkie. But, I'm sure your money will go to good use, but not really. He's a fucking junkie.
And a terrorist, if you want to support terrorism.
Yeah. Yeah, he's,
support the
Well, I'm
troops.
glad,
here on
I'm glad I
YouTube.
brought it up and put a face to it. So
yeah. It's hard to like put a finger on who the terrorists are anymore.
Look, here's the deal. If you only have enough money to subscribe to one Patreon channel this month, let it be Henry Phillips' Patreon channel. But if you have enough money to sign up for 2 Patreon channels, have a friend also pay for Henry's channel, because that would be good for both of you. But
or
if you have
search
enough,
around. Search
enough
around.
for
There's a lot of
3,
stuff out there.
include us at 3. That's all I ask for. If you're paying
that's
for
that's the most diplomatic commercial I've ever heard in my fucking life.
You've already,
that.
and not
That's
only that, you've already
fantastic,
subscribed to
man.
Doug Stanhope's Patreon channel for
Well,
sure. I
yeah.
mean, there's no way you're here if you're not there
That's
too.
true. That's
So
true.
if you have enough money for 4 Patreon subscriptions,
If you
we're
have
glad
enough,
to have
Let us be 5.
and if you
Let
don't
us
have
be in
money
the-
for,
Because there
Let us
might
be
be a
in the
little bit on
argument.
the side, like a
If you
niche
don't have
that's
any-
fucking
you
not
don't have any
normal or
money, we have free content. And if you want lesser content, Inman had a short run of a podcast, and those are probably free as shit.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find them on Napster.
That was
Yeah.
quick, Gailey. Holy shit, that was
Yeah.
quick.
In,
That was
Inman-
like Beetlejuice. Only you
Inman-
only said it one time, and you had that picture up.
Inman
Holy
talking
shit.
to a drunker neighbor. So hey, don't go out to South Dakota and huddle in and get close to people. Stay home and listen to Inman and his drunker neighbor. That's your fireworks,
Yeah.
Sit grandma
on the
6 feet
3rd?
away.
Are they going to do it on the 3rd?
Yeah, set the kids 6 feet away and just play James Inman and his drunk neighbor in Drunken Asshole, or what is the podcast called? Something
We
like
should
that.
make James Inman his own podcast and his own Patreon channel, and then we should not include James Inman in any of it, and we should just monetize his name. And
Oh,
try to
we
make
just
money.
talk about James Inman.
The James Inman podcast.
And even
Like Twitter
another
with
level.
video.
I mean, this already almost is that, but we could fully
we can
commit
play
to the gag.
we can play clips of
would.
his comedy and break it down and interrupt it like
yeah.
those Idiocracy guys, or no, not Idiocracy, the Ridiculousnesses or whatever. Ooh, that bit's not gonna work. Let's see how this goes. Ooh,
That might push me to the point of feeling actually guilty, considering I once was paid over $1,000 to read one of James Inman's rants.
I
That's
remember
awesome.
that.
On a GoFundMe.
That's amazing.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That was
that's
great.
That's better than the 600 I got paid for saying it tastes like piss, but kind of related, oddly. Tastes like piss.
Shit. All right.
It's like piss.
I'm not driving. I could
Good.
drive somewhere today, but I don't
Not
need.
drive.
No. Why would you?
Stay home.
Instead, I'm gonna crawl over, shimmy over this wobbly rail, and get on the ladder and head out for a walk.
Wait. Getting on a ladder drunk is as bad as driving drunk,
It's
Andy.
not illegal though.
Not
It's
illegal.
not illegal.
It's not gonna be a cop. It's like, excuse me, sir. I'm gonna have to see your license for that ladder.
I'm gonna get on the Twitch stream and drive this whole day directly into the fucking ground.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's
Long
fun.
day.
Yeah. At least you're just blackout drinking as opposed to drinking every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, binge it up, but then I've had 3 days off. The worst part about it, I don't know if I told you guys this, but the worst part about it has been that on my days off now, I don't want to drink. And I've been going to the mountains and go hiking every Monday.
You shit on company time now.
Yeah. I usually on that ride I would get beer, and I'm like, fucking, I don't want to drink. I'm not working. I don't want to fucking.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. All right, guys. Thanks for being out there, everybody. Thanks for subscribing. We love it. Our alcoholism requires that we do this anyway. So the fact that you can be here with us while we do is a real joy. So thanks. We'll see you next time. Anybody else got anything they want to plug or get to? They know Andy's shit.
Happy 3rd of July, everyone.
Yeah.
There it is.
For the big
We're celebrating this grand old good guy, old boy country. You know what I mean? The country for us
Think,
old
I don't know.
boys. Good old boys to celebrate. You know what I mean?
Well,
With mask among cool minority people that we fucking love and like and
yeah.
fucking treat as equals. How about that, good old boys? Let's do that.
Mhm.
And blow some. I got these voodoo balls, but I'm saving them in case Trump dies or something. I'm not gonna blast them off for the holiday because I don't really
Wait,
figure.
what's a voodoo ball? What's a voodoo
It's
ball?
just it's a mortar cannon. I got like eight cannon blasts, but it's like it seems I'm not gonna shoot them off now. I'm gonna shoot them off when something it's funny.
Make sure you got your camera.
Or
Recording it
or they're coming for me finally. You know?
Oh, as defense?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
You'll never take me alive, coppers. I got these voodoo balls, see?
I got canned foods and voodoo balls. Nobody's gonna take this place over.
You can hold out.
And a couple of short aluminum bats. And an ostrich with a monkey that rides on it, and a bunch of logs that I can release. That's the Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah, that is actually.
Oh, wow, that went deep.
Was,
I thought it was going to be Land of the Lost, but it was Swiss Family Robinson.
Well, I think it goes to the theme. I think my brother called the guy a butt pirate. He used that term a lot. I don't know if it's on the tape. But, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, it is when somebody takes your butt when you didn't want them to have it.
Yeah, they're definitely
that is true.
That's probably. Let's leave our listeners with that to ponder for a few days. Now go plunder your own asshole, matey.
Who has the weed eater going out there?
We're introducing politically correct slurs at this point. Butt pirate is actually the proper
that's
term.
Okay.
You know how fucked up the world is? I think if Larry had a podcast, you could call it politically correct, and he would have a big right-wing audience.
Politically correct. He means it.
Yeah, Larry's politically
With your host,
correct.
Larry Anderson.
Larry could do a Fox News show. He speaks their language. He just speaks it. He speaks their language in tongues.
Well, that's why I thought it should be Larry Anderson. I didn't want to be ethnic. Andrist is a little too ethnic. I think we should stay with something.
Yeah, no, let's not insult the Finnish. No, I don't know. I think we're Norgies. I don't even. We're so Euro white. What we are. We're somewhere in the middle of.
Me
I'm
too.
sure our family ancestors ate a lot of pancakes.
You know,
What are you looking for images off the Family Guy fan site, Shaylee?
I actually, the other one didn't show up because it just looked like two guys with ripped abs, and it did say butt pirates above.
I wonder when I coined that. I don't know that I coined that phrase, but I had these little those little toys.
I definitely know you didn't.
Whatever you're
on the
say
Man
next.
Show. I can date it when the Man Show wrapped. There was a vending machine. People gave gifts, so I went to a vending machine at the dollar place, and they had clowns. Like they were gothish clowns, and I said they were ass clowns. I said these are ass clowns, and they go, why are they ass clowns? And I go, 'cause you should shove it up your ass. I gave everybody a little clown. That's how. And then I hadn't heard that phrase.
That's
and then
pretty
I heard
funny, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure that the term ass clown caught on after your
2004
Man Show rap party gag.
No, 2004. If it wasn't around, I invented it.
No.
I came up with grated cheese in the 70s.
Grated cheese. No such thing before that, huh?
Yeah.
I stepped on
Only
it.
for Andy, it was his ranking system. There was grade A, there was grade B. No, that's a cereal. What is that? What cereal is that? I can't see.
It
the
says
whole
ass
thing.
clowns. It's just above it. I can't always.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to make the picture match.
I had a box of cereal back in
Oh,
my mom had this for a short time, worked at this place. It was basically the equivalent of a canned food warehouse in Coquille back in the day. Somebody who probably ripped off a warehouse in Portland. But one of the things was Grins, Giggles, Smiles, and Laughs cereal. We had that. We had.
You remembered all that? You have
that
in
is
your
a
yeah.
I
horrible
remember.
marketing team.
I'm starting to realize how much garbage you shouldn't even teach kids. You just like the less you can tell a kid, the better. Let them get to an age where they learn smart shit. But I
Yeah.
can tell you the name of that cereal: Grins, Giggles, Smiles, and Laughs. And I don't know that it was even a legit brand. It's probably a ripoff brand. It was like Captain Crunch mixed together with some other shit and repackaged.
Yeah, the
I
shit
don't
you
know.
got in a bag.
We ate a
After-
lot of government cheese
You
and
probably
Grins-
after you got your big Jims at the S&H stamp store. That's probably the cereal you
Yeah.
got.
This was before they had Big Lots. This is where they had sold cereal.
Yeah, I was explaining Big Lots to my nephew, and he's like, "Oh, I'll have to check it out."
Not everybody
Won't
knows
believe
about Big Lots. Big Lots.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I go, man, if you ever just don't think you need a tumbler and then you go into a place, you'll end up with one. And he goes, really? Like, yeah, man.
Try to-
You won't believe it. You'll walk out with a cup. And I went in specifically not to get a cup, and I left Big Lots with 12 cups.
Whatever I do, I'm not getting a cup.
You actively went to a store to not purchase something.
Yeah, there was one up from Stanhope, and we'd walk up there, and we'd end up with fucking all kinds of shit, but we always end up with cups. We don't need any.
Try to walk past a $2 bag of jerky. I dare you. Big
Yeah.
Law.
Yeah, you mean $1 dog treats?
Depended on which part of town you lived in.
Yeah, I'll sell these to Larry as fucking trail mix.
You can fill his
Yeah,
$2
wow.
fucking
Yeah.
Look at
box.
that.
Yeah, holy shit.
What
Yeah, I was
the
actually
fuck?
challenging Shaylee to find that because that's such an obscure thing in my head.
Wow.
It existed, huh?
I
Yeah, I
kinda
bet that.
remember that.
Imagine how
I kind of feel
fucking-
like I can remember
uh,
that hurting my
ima-
teeth.
Imagine how,
That
imagine
really-
how high
Go
you'd
ahead.
have to be to have come up with that as your name of your cereal and ad campaign. You have to be like
was
really
pretty-
high in the 70s.
I remember it being
like,
pretty fucked up, and
blissed
then when
out
it went
on
away, I wanted
LSD.
more. So it was probably drugs involved there because I was.
'Cause what
Okay,
is
it's like-
going on there? Is she got a machine that makes cereal
It
that
milks
runs
it.
with a bone handle?
That's
that
how you make
pull
it.
down a
Is
lever,
that's an ear
down,
on the
it's
side
an
of
ear.
it?
A
That's
pierced
how you
ear.
make the cereal.
Yeah. And
This is
it
what it
does
said.
look
Hey, this
like
is what it
it
says.
does look like Captain Crunch.
We've
Yeah,
got
I
to
think
do a
it's
deeper
pretty much-
dive on this. This is
It,
Here's from,
this
this is
some-
from
All right, let's do
Ralston.
it.
This is Ralston
All
Purina. Ralston says this
Ralston,
is their
that's a
ad
dog
campaign
food company.
That
Well,
is
it's a
dog
company.
food.
that also makes dog food. Please. So
If you're a company that also makes dog food, you're a dog food company. You
Yes,
have
that's
to
true.
do that. You don't get to make cereal for children.
That is
But
a
that's what
dog
dogs
food
say. Oh my
cereal.
God, that's a human cereal company? No way.
Yeah.
Well, there's force
this
in
is-
all of it. So, you know,
This is the
call it what you
crunchy
want.
cereal. The crunchy cereal that smiles back at you from March 22nd, 1976. This is a press release in Time, or actually in Time Magazine. Ralston will introduce Grins and Smiles and Giggles and Laughs, which
Smile.
stream from the mouth of a computer-type monster named Cecil when his funny bone is tickled.
Oh, my
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Ironically,
that
I got
has
into
Blues
it.
Bay all over it.
Everything that you've ever been involved in, Andy, is
Oh
some
I
sort
know.
of
shit,
Ironically, I've never caused any of those.
Andy! That is the fucking name of your new special.
Yeah.
Grins and smiles and giggles and laughs.
Might be it might actually be the best name for this podcast.
Yeah.
We're
A
all
typical-
talking about-
A typical Saturday would be me and Bob the dog splitting a bowl of grins, smiles, giggles, and laughs, watching Scooby Doo, and then I'd spend the afternoon playing with Big Jim and friends. And
that's a beautiful image.
That's a day.
Yeah.
Honestly,
hmm,
that was great.
Yeah.
Nothing better on Saturday than a big bowl of cereal and cartoons.
yeah, and that cereal did hurt my teeth, and I remember when that little place closed up and went away, I really wanted more of that cereal, and it was never around ever again. So it's like RC Cola. It's like fucking gone, man. Move on. You got to get another fix.
Grins and smiles and giggles and laughs. And what's the computer's name? Is Cecil?
Cecil.
Yeah.
And it.
She made the cereal.
Well,
She
it came
just
out
put
of its
in the
mouth when
you put
tickles
in
its
all the
funny bone.
happy into that,
Is
and
it-
that
and it
just,
looks like there is. It's like a perfect, a metaphor for
Smiley
society.
face.
Because because it looks like the guys who are happy about it are like these robber baron types. Like the little guy looks like a Monopoly man sort of character who's like,
and
I've stumbled
and they
across the
sort
great
of
cereal making
and
machine.
they
I'm
sort
gonna
of
make $1 million on a
and
cereal
they
making machine. You see?
yeah,
Like,
and
what the fuck?
her eyes say she's being abused, but her lips say she's game for the next fucking shift. Right? She's an abused fucking
God
robot,
damn.
a sex
Yeah.
robot, making fucking faking the smiles. That's how. It's It's a
Oh my
GOP
God.
machine right there.
GOP machine. Oh fuck! All right,
Tickle
let's
my
get out of
funny
here.
bone and I'll barf Captain Crunch out my ear.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Oh.
I don't understand the
It
concept.
comes
like
out
a-
the wait. It doesn't come out the ear, does it? Comes out the front part
No, the
Does
somehow.
funny
it?
right?
bone is right there where the ear is.
I see the funny bone and I see the ear, but where does the cereal? Where is it ejected from?
If I get a box of that in the
Oh,
mail,
yeah,
I'm gonna
maybe
just
that.
fucking sit down and do some acid.
Crush those up and
Holy
snort.
shit!
It
And
comes
really,
out
you
of its
should
mouth,
keep.
it says.
If you had a box of that, just an empty box shell, that's where you'd keep your LSD, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna pull it out here, everybody.
But I mean,
Boom.
think about this. At some point, somebody, when they were trying to come up with the name of this, it didn't stop at grins and smiles and giggles. They were
They didn't-
like, no, and laughs. Don't forget laughs.
Got to commit to the bit
Yeah.
all the way.
And
It
chuckles.
blows my mind. That's
They probably eliminated 3. You think that's a long list? They probably
Yeah.
took 6 or 7 guffaws.
Yeah.
No,
Fiona
come on, man.
Apple, Almond
Chuckles,
Brown.
yeah.
shortles.
It's already
Oh,
3
for real?
mouthfuls, and that's about all the cereal you can
We've-
eat
we've
before you
got
go.
it.
I remember that. I wonder what
Yeah.
I'd like to look
Some
up the
HR
ingredients
pumpkin stuff,
compared to
too.
Captain Crunch, because I do
I-
remember that being like just the most intense
It
sugar.
was-
I would
you
like
know.
to look up the ingredients compared to dog food.
Yeah.
Well,
See,
Like I said,
I
I
think
slipped in there that me and my
Purina
dog
was
Bob
running a
split a
scam
bowl.
in the 70s.
Remember, this is what was going on in the 70s.
Yeah, that's what I'm
HR
saying.
puffin stuff.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
really.
HR puffin stuff.
And
And
then I
people were
also
freaking out, man.
I think I went down the sequel or the spin-off with Sigmund and friends. Sigmund the sea
Sigmund's
monster.
Yeah.
Johnny and Scott were all friends.
Yeah, there was some wild.
Yeah,
shit.
that's what I realized. I have too much fucking kid stuff in my head. I was my cat. I was singing the Courtship of Eddie's Father song to my cat without missing a beat on all of it. It's like, God damn it. What good has this done me at
Because
all?
of what it did, it's because of being molested. Is that
I
you
know,
remember
it's the-
this time when things were all good,
And then I know, but
things
then
were
I-
beautiful,
and-
and then
and
that
that-
all
and-
changed. But
yeah,
you've
and-
locked that all in because it's what you are holding on to as it.
Right.
The
Well,
world
you're-
doesn't suck.
You're right, Dr. Erickson, because my very next thought was, well, I bet pedophiles used to sing that song back in the day when there was no accountability or cameras.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's cool. He sang the Courtship of Eddie's Father song, and he's settling in and taking an interest in my boy.
Yeah.
Oh, they're playing Marco Polo. How fun.
Oh, they're not even in the pool anymore. They went upstairs, but they're still. I can
Yeah.
still hear them. I can hear
What's
still
all that
hear
noise
'em
through the
yelling
vent?
it. Yeah, they're yelling
Yeah.
something anyway. I'm assuming it's Marco Polo.
Yeah, I wasn't molested. I was groomed.
Mhm.
That's like you're going, excuse me, I'm not one of you guys. I was groomed. It's being molested with gifts. It's different. It's totally different. You get
Yeah.
some walking away prizes.
Yeah.
Like when you go to the dentist and they let you dig through the hope chest or the prize chest at the end.
God.
Not hope chest. That's an unethical dentist. Sort through my underwear drawer and pick out a dildo and go on home. Show it to your mom.
Oh, fuck.
That sounds like a Bisbee dentist to me.
It gives a whole new meaning to vibrating toothbrush.
Yeah. Is this
Yeah,
a
we're in a-
toothbrush? I guess
we're in
so.
a
You can brush some
pandemic,
teeth
man.
with it if you want to, but
You can put it in your
guys are-
mouth, but I wouldn't.
We're
you'll
spreading
probably knock more
bad
out of it than
science
you
during a
clean.
pandemic. You can't do that. We're like, people tune to us like we're Dr. Fauci.
All of our
Yeah, I
predictions
think-
have been wrong.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but the way my brother Larry was living was unsanitary. Don't live like that. We're not role models here. Larry's not a role model. Well, he is kind of. Never
All right,
mind.
Eric, get us out of here,
All right.
man. Jesus.
All right. We love
I
you
gotta listen
guys.
to more
Thanks
cereal.
for being here. Thanks for subscribing.
Sorry, Patreon. We'll trim a half hour. We'll send you $4 back.